There is an increasing problem in society today, a problem that if we do not address now could in time become very destructive. We are all seeking sources of help and love that are reliable, unchanging, and consistent in our lives. When not met, this causes feelings of hopelessness, loneliness, anxiety, and fear. This phenomenon has gone on for so long that it became the center of Harvard University's longest study on human happiness. Director of this study and head psychiatrist Robert Waldinger stated, "Loneliness kills," in his concluding TED Talk. In my own life, I have discovered and developed what I like to call the 4 R's that have helped me personally combat this problem in my life, based on personal beliefs and background. What I wanted to do is share with you these 4 R's to help you do the same. The first R is to remember. We must remember our past experiences. In the Book of Mormon, 3 Nephi chapter 24, verse 6, the Lord states a very foundational and yet simple truth about his character. He says, "I am the Lord, I change not." Now, I want you to think of a time in your life that you've ever experienced joy or hope, peace, gratitude, any of these feelings. Maybe you've received an answer to a prayer or seen a tender mercy. Maybe there was that exam that you just knew you couldn't pass, but you totally did. Maybe you've never experienced any of these things at all, but you've seen it in the life of another. To understand the truth that the Lord never changes is to understand that if you've ever experienced any of these things at all, or seen it in the life of another, then you can have complete confidence that it will happen again, and it will happen for you, because He never changes. We must remember our past experiences. The next R is to rethink. We must rethink our detrimental thought patterns. It is very easy for us to say, "I've received an answer to my prayers, but only that once. It surely could not happen that miraculously again." Detrimental thought pattern. Or, "I used to feel joy, but I know I'm not doing the things I need to now. I don't deserve it anymore." Detrimental thought pattern. Or, "God knows them, but never me." Detrimental thought pattern. These are lies from the adversary. A couple weeks ago, I was driving home with my friend Kennedy, and she asked me, "Why is this truth so foundational for me?" What the thought that came to my mind is something I will never forget. I said, "It is because this truth is the truth about God that makes every other truth about God powerful." And that leads us to our third R, which is to recognize. We must recognize the motives of the adversary. Think about it. If Satan can convince us that the truths about God, like He loves me, or He answers prayers, are temporary, then we are giving Him power over our lives. President and prophet Russell M. Nelson of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints stated, "Satan delights in your misery. Cut it short. Cast his influence out of your life." In his talk titled "The Power of Spiritual Momentum." The Book of Mormon also declares that the devil seeketh that all men might be miserable like unto himself. That sounds pretty familiar considering what we talked about at the very beginning. If this is true, then Satan certainly does not want us to believe or understand that we have constant, reliable, and unchanging heavenly sources of help and love in our day-to-day lives. Satan understands that if he does not influence us, then God will. So we must recognize the motives of the adversary. To understand the truth that God never changes is to take that power from Him and not believe these lies. We must then rely. Our 4th R is to rely on our past experiences with God. Rely on our testimony, no matter how big or small they might be. You have a beautiful mind with strong neural pathways that are meant to build and connect ideas and thought patterns for your own personal belief window. What I've shared with you today is my own personal belief window, and I ask you to rely on these ideas and connections that have come to you today and apply them for yourself. I want to share with you the definition of confidence. It says in the Webster Dictionary, the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. The best thing to have an eternal confidence in is that of an eternal nature, an identity as a child of God, and a knowledge that there is a heavenly power constantly in your life that is never passive. I promise you that as you apply these 4 R's, which is to remember the experiences of your life, to rethink detrimental thought patterns, to recognize the motives of the adversary, and to rely on that of an eternal confidence, then you will have more love, joy, peace, and happiness in your life. I invite you to apply these 4 R's and then to teach them. Who knows, if we do this, maybe the world could change because God is unchanging. Thank you.